Hello, everybody. Buddy Web, Midland, Texas. I had a notification on my Facebook yesterday that somebody had clicked like on this Facebook post from a year ago and from 2023. And I reread it, and it's kind of interesting. I remember getting a lot of comments on it and stuff, so I was going to share it. It's called Underground Casino in Midland, Odessa and Lubbock, question mark. I posted a screenshot from this lady telling me there's an underground home in Lubbock, and Kenny Edgemond said, I know where one is for a fact. I asked him where it was, and he said, okay, well, my dad just told me the house had been torn down, but it was an underground gambling shack and escape tunnels. Okay, I replied, and I said, one lady told me about the underground homes were for an illegal casino, and I heard about a home over in Odessa where multiple people said that the same thing was happening. Okay. It was a Gandhi tech who told me that his girlfriend's parents bought this home in Odessa, and now there's concrete poured down there. But Luis Santos said it wasn't true, and they still use it in secret as a casino. Interestingly, my ex-wife told me that her late dad was close friends with the wealthy banker that used to own that home in Odessa. She had already told me that her dad was a kingpin in organized crime. I wondered if these underground casinos are in many cities in Texas. Of course, the only way that could happen is for the police and press to cover up the crimes and murders, and we can be sure that's going on here in Midland. I'm going to show you some of these proofs here that I was talking about. Okay. Let's start with this one. Okay. Here it is. I got this Facebook message on Facebook, and this lady's telling me, says, yeah, it's so bizarre, I believe you. I've had a lot of people here recently in the past week talking about a lot of the underground tunnels here that's in Midland, and discussing the underground world here in Midland, and how there's a game room here that all the high officials go to, and bet money, and when money and whatever else is they do down there, the P word. But I hear about it more and more people talking about it. And then I told her, I said, well, it's back in 22. I suggested to FBI agent Dominic, I said, maybe it's an illegal casino and a brothel. And he said real slow, maybe. And his response told me I'd guessed right. And that's what was going on here in the underground homes by my house. Okay. Okay, this one was another Facebook conversation here, and this lady tells me, she says here's the date on it, 4/17/2016. She says, in between Quaker Street and Slide Road is a big gap, and there are other homes here as well connected to the tunnel. I said, interesting. Yep. I said, you've been watching my Facebook wall, then you notice that there are very strong links back to Lubbock. And she goes on to tell me, she says, I was told that a lady had shots come up from her house like underground. She called the cops, but nothing was done. Like, it just didn't happen. She was at the ER last week, very sick. I was at the ER last week very sick next to a girl who ran the streets and trafficked girls. She told me Midland, Odessa, Austin are the circle, and how the girls are traveled. And Abilene. It's a circle. Starts with Lubbock, goes to Odessa, Midland, Abilene, and then to Austin. In between, there's a town, but I can't remember. So that's where they were. It was a ring that they were trafficking girls, is what she was telling me. Okay. Here, let me see what else here. Okay, this one here, this is I was telling you, my Grandi tech come over, and he was telling me his girlfriend bought this house over in Old Odessa, 2900 Palo Verde Road right there. And I went and looked up at the appraisal district, and I looked up who owns it, who used to own it like that, and it looked like a banker. I think Woods was the name that used to own the house. I don't know if that was there when they were there, or they know about it. If this multi-millionaire banker or not. But I do remember that the ex-wife told me that her late dad was one of his best friends, was that banker over there in Midland. And she'd also told me that her dad was a kingpin in organized crime. And the way she put it on that conversation one day, she was bragging and she says, "My dad's a king," as in kingpin. And I said, "Oh yeah?" And she says, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, I can one up you on that." She says, "How's that?" And she laughed. And then I said, "My father's king of kings." But anyways, Luis Santos here, he posted when I shared that on my Facebook, he said they didn't fill it in with concrete. They still use it in secret. So that was like confirmation. Now, I had other people tell me, "Yeah, I heard about that illegal casino over in Odessa, and under a house." Okay. So that's all I got there on the casino. But over in Hobbs, I wondered if the same thing was going on. It was my friend over there, Cynthia Whitehead. She told me that there was it was like somebody had buried a tank, I think she said, and and they would all go out there and party and everything. And I wondered how close that was to my house, because I now believe that my house in Hobbs that I lived in also had a tunnel in it that was put in by the in-laws, and it had people in the attic. But I wonder, did it have an underground home? Was it an illegal casino? Is this going on all over the place? And it's definitely the people in the attics all over the country, and the police and the press are hiding it, and it's absolutely organized crime. And then what we've seen here was a premeditated murder attempt. I'm home minding my own business. They tried to kill me, and then I was told there were 4 people murdered, died here before me, and then the underground home in the backyard. I was told, "Oh yeah, that's where the oil show parties were going on." Well, it just makes sense. It'd be perfect for a casino. It's Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.